What is going on, Washington fans? I don't even know where to start. This was supposed to be one of the guaranteed wins. This was supposed to be one of the games that keeps us alive. We've actually looked somewhat decent the last few weeks, and the Giants, for whatever reason, we can never beat them. I think we swept them once, like what, 2-3 years ago, something like that. But other than that, for some reason, we can never beat the Giants. We are like the Ravens and the Bengals. The Ravens always have the Bengals number. For some reason, the Giants always have our number. They can literally roll out an entire team of practice squad players, and I would fully expect to lose that team. And this wasn't just a loss. This is as ugly as it gets on almost every side of the ball. How do you lose to the Giants 31-19 with their third string Tommy DeVito, the Italian boy, at quarterback? How do you lose that game? They didn't have any rushing yards the first 3 quarters of the game. They had 0 rushing yards the first 3 quarters of the game, and you lose that game. So, as y'all know, I'm Josh Taylor. I'm back. I had surgery on my elbow. In case y'all want to see it, it's a pretty nasty scar. But I've been out for the last 2 weeks, but I'm glad to be back because there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, it's not pretty. Obviously, it's some pretty ugly stuff. But still just a lot to unpack, and then we're going to vent. I got some polls for y'all, and as always, y'all can blow up the chat. But after being gone for a little while, I'm glad to be back. So where do you go from here? Like, this was, in my opinion, like the game that ends the season. Like, for some reason, we still had somewhat of a chance of making the playoffs before this game. But this was it. And I just tweeted it. I said, well, the season's over, so expect nothing but like draft content, and this is where everyone needs to go after this game. There's no reason to lose this one. 31-19 to the Giants, bro, at home. We have only won 1 game at home, and that was week 1 at the Cardinals when I was there. That is the only home game we have won this season. So as fans, this is just an event. As a person who's actually a fan of this team, the sale of the team went down, everything. Everyone said pack the stadium, like it's going to be great. High expectations for this team. We have packed the stadium almost every home game. I think every home game, honestly. And this is still a product that we get on the field every single week. So Josh Harris, Magic Johnson, everyone in that ownership group that is at the games should see that and see the product that's on the field that we're seeing right now. So a lot to talk about. Do you fire somebody right before Thanksgiving on a short week? Do you fire Jack Del Rio? Do you fire Ron Rivera? I'm going to go through the stats. I got some polls for y'all. But let me go ahead and ask y'all this question. Who lost this game today? And it's a loaded question. There could be a lot of different answers. But who is your top answer for this one? Is it the defense? Is it the offensive line, who regressed from the last few weeks? They've actually looked decent the last few weeks against the Patriots and Seahawks. They look good. And then today it just went back to just being absolute, atrocious. Sam Howell's turnovers, or is it the black unis? Because fans are always blaming the black unis. J-Rod B-Like just said, burn the black unis. Demarius Davis said 6 turnovers. You can't win a game. M. White 119 says burn the black jerseys. Everyone's saying burn the black jerseys. Well, I got one black jersey, and it's a Chase Young jersey, so I have no problem burning it because I will never have to use it again. But I thought that'd be cool to put that in there. So, as y'all know, we are playing on Thanksgiving. We have a short week, traveling to Dallas. Thank God. I live in Texas. I was going to go to that game. I'm not. I'm going back to Virginia for Thanksgiving, so not going to that game, especially after what I saw today. It's just, there's no excuse for that. You want to talk about the turnovers. We finally get some production on the defensive line. Tommy DeVito was running for his life. He got sacked 9 times today. And they still have 31 points on us. That's terrible. And I don't want to blame the defense, because I don't think that the defense, was bad today. Yeah, we had some injuries that happened, whatever. I'm not even worried about injuries. I will never use injuries as an excuse. And the Giants are a reason why. They have so many people hurt. They're literally got Tommy DeVito out there, has no idea what he's doing, and they still find a way to win. Teams find a way. Good teams find a way to win, overcoming injuries to players. And that'll never be an excuse for me. But to see what we saw today, like I said, the defensive line, finally 9 sacks producing. KJ Henry, by the way, I'm going to talk about him some. Looks like we have something in KJ, and I love KJ Henry at Clemson. I thought he was a really good prospect. I liked him. There's some other edge rushers I was really wanting in the draft. And he looks the part so far. He looks much better next to Deron Payne than Montez Sweat. It looks like they can work together. Jonathan Allen was getting pressures. He got a sack today. Deron Payne was in the backfield a lot. Obata got hurt. That sucks. It didn't look good at all. So hopefully he recovers. David Mayo, I made a joke on Twitter, looked like Ray Lewis this game. The David Mayo revenge game. Who knows that he just needed a revenge game against the Giants. The defense didn't look too bad. There's a lot of miscommunication in the back end when Forbes got hurt, and they put Quan Martin at corner, moving guys around. So I can't blame the defense, but so much. I think this solely goes on coaching. I think this goes on Ron Rivera. I still don't like what Jack Del Rio does in certain situations. Third downs are killing us. We can look good the entire drive, but then on third down, we just completely forget what we're doing. So the pass rush was finally there. We're finally getting to the quarterback, and you still can't find a way to win a game. There's no excuse for that. And every single week, Ron Rivera does something stupid. But in my opinion, do you fire somebody before Thanksgiving on a short week? That's my question. Can you do that? I don't see why not. This, in my opinion, this had to be the game that just puts the nail in the coffin. This has to be it. JCam 1046 said Jack Del Rio situational awareness is garbage. Absolutely. It took so long to finally start blitzing some linebackers, and we do it today, and it actually paid off. But then in other situations, you want to talk about, how much we use zone, how much we use man. The third down situations are terrible for Jack Del Rio. Terrible. It's inexcusable. We are historically bad this season. And it's not just this season. It's been the last few seasons. Third down defense for us is a backbreaker. It does not matter if they have 3rd and 20. I have full expectations that team is going to pick up a first down because that's what happens to us. So am I blaming everything on the defense? No. For what they were handed today, when a team has 6 turnovers in the game, you're putting a lot of pressure on your defense. And certain situations they stepped up, certain situations they didn't. But once again, I'm not going to sit here and say, the defense is the one to blame for this, blah, 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 blah. I still think there's a lot of big needs on defense. I would love Jeremiah Trotter Jr. from Clemson. I think we still need a good linebacker. I think we need better corners. I think we need some safety help. Defensive line, obviously, one dominant pass rusher on the edge, to complement KJ Henry and what I think he's going to be good. That would be great. But I'm not saying that this defense lost the game today. But like I said, the offensive line terribly regressed today. Charles Leno had nothing for Kayvon Thibodeau today. Nothing for Kayvon. And it goes back to the first time we played them. Kayvon has our number. He can look average all season. And then all of a sudden, they play the Washington Commanders. And I said this joke so many weeks ago, and it's funny because every single week it's true. If you need a get-right game, if you need a game to break a streak, we haven't had a touchdown in the first half all season, come play Washington. We guarantee you we will break your streak. We will help you guys out. I think I saw a stat that the New York Giants have only scored 4 times this entire first half in the whole season. And those 4 times have been against us in both games. That's bad. Like I said, they had 0 rushing yards in the first 3 quarters of the game, and they find a way to drop 31 points on us, even without the pick 6 at the end that Sam Howell threw, whatever. That is unexcusable. Demarius Davis said Giants have half their season stats against us. Literally, that's bad. They really do. Between sacks, interceptions, we help the Giants. We are the get-right game for the Giants. If the Giants need some kind of help, the only good thing that came out of this is that the Giants might have lost their number 2 pick in the draft. That's it. And this might be the game that was the nail in the coffin for Ron Rivera to get fired. That's the only good thing that came out of this game. I didn't see anything else. I was like, at least we saw KJ Henry. That's the only actual positive I got out of this game. I said, the defensive line got a little bit better, but the offensive line sucks. But I saw some flash out of KJ Henry. That is the only positive I got out of this. Sam Howell regressed, mainly because of some bad decisions, but then also because of some offensive line issues. But I will say KJ Henry looked good today. That's the only good I took out of this, and maybe someone gets fired. You thought we would do something this year. We all hyped this team. I hyped this team up all offseason. I drank the Kool-Aid. I like made some Kool-Aid too. I didn't just drink it. I made it. Like I was so high on this team, and I'm still high on this team. But I think once again, it boils down to coaching. You have to get rid of these coaches, man. And Eric Bieniemy didn't have the flawless game today. Everybody was mad at me the last few days because I was like, I think Eric Bieniemy is going to stay offensive coordinator. I think we do like an outside hire for a head coach, bring in somebody, maybe someone that hasn't been a head coach before, but maybe someone that is like an offensive coordinator somewhere else. There's a list of guys I have. I'll start doing some videos on them. But everyone's like, no, Eric Bieniemy needs to be the head coaching job. I don't think Eric Bieniemy's done enough to be the head coach yet. And I'm just saying, I'm not against Eric Bieniemy. I love EB, and I love what I think he's doing for Sam Howell, developing Sam Howell. And we knew it was going to be a roller coaster. No one thought that Sam Howell was just going to be perfect this season. I never thought Sam Howell would lead the league in passing yards. And I get it. It's like, it's passing yards. Like, we still suck. We're still not getting wins. I get it. But if you're going to take some of that good, you've got to take some of that bad too. We know that Sam Howell's throwing the ball at an ungodly rate. But at the same time, he is learning for next season as well. So I think there's some good going on with Eric Bieniemy and Sam Howell. Like, I don't want to break that up as an offensive coordinator. I want to keep Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator. I want to keep his offense. He does need to get better at learning how to run the ball. There's certain zone concepts he does I don't like. He runs outside way too much when I want him to run up the middle with either B-Rob or Chris Rodriguez. Oh, we got to see a little bit of Chris Rodriguez today as well with Antonio Gibson out. But I'm telling you guys, I want to see Sam Howell with an offensive line. I want to see what he can do behind it, a legit offensive line. And I think Curtis Samuel goes in free agency. And I think that we replace him with somebody like a big body receiver. I said like Mike Evans. You got Brendan Rice out of USC, Brian Thomas Jr. at LSU. There's some big time options. I think we still need some weapons. My guy, Jahan Dotson, love him to death. Cost me a bet today. All my legs in the game hit except Jahan Dotson over like 35 yards. There's games where Jahan Dotson disappears. I know he had that touchdown at the end of the game. He's had big moments this season. He's also had some really bad drops. So yes, I'm going to praise our players when they're doing good, but I'm also going to call them out when they're doing bad. And I did not see, and this is a game that Jahan usually dominates in. Terry loves those Eagle games. Jahan Dotson loves the Giants games. And for some reason, today was just not a day for Jahan Dotson. But then, I mean, I want to look at this poll and see what y'all think about why we lost this game today. Majority of the people said Sam Howell's turnovers, 36%. 24% surprisingly said the defense. Once again, if you have six turnovers, how much do you expect out of your defense to be on the field that much? So yes, I don't think they were perfect. I'm not going to say this defense played amazing. They didn't. There's still a lot of secondary issues, a lot. Too many big plays, like the Saquon run to start the fourth quarter. The whole Saquon drive actually was just unexcusable. The offensive line, 19%, and then 21% said the black unis. I don't disagree with you. I love how the black unis look, but until we can win in those things, like I do think that they're cursed. I got another poll for y'all. Let me go ahead and do this one. What's the biggest need for this team? Is it a linebacker? Is it the left or right tackle? Interior O-line, mostly left guard, center, or weapons on offense? This is something I've been going through. If y'all follow me on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB, you know I'm talking about Brock Bowers. You know I'm talking about Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Cedric Drayett at North Carolina. There's a lot of good prospects. I like them. We talk about that until April. Like, I'm in full draft mode, honestly, when the season starts. But you want to talk about just like you can't even like build momentum as this team when you have 6 turnovers. And once again, I get it. Like Sam Howell had the ones at the end, the pick 6, the one where Dexter hits his hand where he's trying to lob it to Jahan Dotson. There was some bad decision making by Sam Howell today. And which sucks because we've seen some really good Sam Howell decision making the last few weeks. We've seen Sam Howell just hit this stride, but it's like we should have seen it coming because it was the Giants. We're back at home. We've looked good for a little while, but now we knew it's time to get back to reality that we're just a bad team. But I'm telling you guys, the turnovers are just inexcusable. But I want to bring up some stats real quick and take a look at what we got going on here, especially on defense. Because a lot of people think that we were bad on defense, but I don't think our defense was that bad today. But I think it still at the same time wasn't like the tell-all. But still, Tommy DeVito, 18 for 26, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, even though he was sacked 9 times. So that's what's really frustrating. Let me make it a little bit bigger, Phil. Like, we complain, like, oh, we need to get to the quarterback. Where's this pass rush? Why do we trade Chase? Why do we trade Montez? What are we doing? The pass rush was there. Their offensive line is bad. Like, if you think our offensive line is bad, the Giants is worse. And the worst part is they actually invested first-round picks, second-round picks on that offensive line. They've got a couple guys who will be there in the future, but like Andrew Thomas is good. And then John Michael Smith out of Minnesota, he's going to be good for him. But outside of that, their offensive line's bad. My guy Evan Neal has been a terrible draft pick for them. I hate to say it. Love Evan Neal, Roll Tide, but he's been bad. So 9 sacks, I love seeing that. But secondary-wise, there's no excuse, no interceptions, 246 yards through the air. And I know a lot of it came from Saquon Barkley, who just, once again, always knows how to kill us. 14 carries for 83 yards, which is literally an entire fourth quarter, by the way. The fourth quarter was all 83 yards. He had 0 going into the fourth. Mind-blowing. Darius Slayton, 4 catches, 82 yards, 1 touchdown. Saquon had that wheel route on Jamin Davis, something that he does better than anyone. Honestly, I don't think there's a linebacker in the league that can defend Saquon on the wheel route besides like Fred Warner. Bellinger was a lock today. I had his over in the yards. He had 38 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson had a few. Jalen Hyatt actually had a first good game, was the first game against us, did nothing today. But still inexcusable to let this team that they rolled out on our field get that much success on offense. And I get it. Once again, you have all these turnovers. And I've seen a lot of people in the chat actually bring up Bill Belichick. So I'm going to talk about that real quick. And then I'll get back to this. There is a lot of smoke with Bill Belichick. And this is something I said a few days ago, or like a week and a half ago. And then all of a sudden, all this smoke started coming out. There's a lot of smoke about the whole Bill Belichick thing. And I honestly think it is a real possibility. And I'm not saying I hate it. I'm not saying that I like it. I don't want to go that route at all. Like, you can put that. I don't want to go that route. I do not want Bill Belichick, especially if you're trading a pick for Bill Belichick. If it's a first, a second, a third, no, do not do that. But something I said the other day is both Josh Harris and Magic Johnson know Bill Belichick. Magic Johnson's actually really close with Bill Belichick, has a lot of respect for him. They both do. They both want to implement a winning culture. And I know what y'all are about to say, because it's the same thing I hear every time I say it. What's he winning? What does he want without Brady? And the thing is, with Bill Belichick, like, I know him and Brady had this magical run. What did he do after Brady? Honestly, not much. But the first year without Brady, which was 2020, he went 7-9 with a washed Cam Newton, who had a 8. They went 7-9. Hit an 8-10 touchdown to interception ratio, which is atrocious. He didn't have Gronk. Edelman only had 21 catches in 6 games. He only started 1 game. 2021, they went 10-7 and made the playoffs with a rookie Mac Jones. 2022, they went 8-9 and their whole roster revamped, and they're just ready to just explode the whole roster. So I'm not saying Bill Belichick is the answer, because I don't think he is. I think the best route is to get one of these younger guys, a guy who can really grow in here. And I know you see the graphic all the time. Oh, we had Mike McDaniels, we had LaFleur, we had McVay, we had all these guys here, and we let them go. These young guys, but even then, our team sucked. So I get it. Like, we were like, what, 3-13 with that team? So it's not like we lost anything at the time. But what I'm saying is I want one of those young guys that can come in here, develop, and grow this team. Just a refresher of a head coach, a offensive-minded guy who can thrive with Sam Howell, who I still believe in, who I still think is the future of this team, by the way. I don't think we go, with I don't think we draft a quarterback this draft class, which this is actually a really good draft class for quarterbacks, by the way. But I don't think that's the route we go. I think that Sam Howell is the answer, and it sounds like ownership has agreed with that and think that he's the future anyways. But I do think that Ron Rivera is checked out. I think he's been checked out for a long time. And I don't think anything happens between now and Thanksgiving, because once again, it's a short week. How do you prepare a team on a short week in like 2 or 3 days when you fire a head coach? That just doesn't work. So I think, we're going to lose on Thanksgiving. I hate to say it. We're going to come here to Dallas. lose to the Cowboys. And I think that is going to be like the backbreaker after that, because then you do have a long week. You play on Thanksgiving. It's like a Thursday night game. You have a long week after that. That is when the move happens to fire Ron Rivera. That is when you elevate Eric Bieniemy to head coach. He'll still play, call the plays on offense. He'll still have a hand with Sam Howell, all that. He'll be the interim head coach. And this is why, because you let him audition for that position coming up next season. You let him have that end-game experience, and that can be a two-edged sword, though. It can help you because he could be your head coach coming, for the next season, or it can hurt you because he can look good as a head coach and apply other places, and they're like, hey, now that we've seen you as an interim head coach, we want to give you that opportunity with this team. Maybe like the Panthers or someone like that who has a young quarterback with Bryce Young that would want Eric Bieniemy. So maybe it's good because he could be the head coach and you want him to get that experience, but it could also be bad because you might lose him in doing so. But I do think it's the right move to make. And I would love to get him to come back as offensive coordinator. I don't think he's ready for that head coach job yet. I love how he talks. I love how he's, how passionate he is about it. I'm a big EB fan, but I just want to see a little bit more consistency with the play calling, with the awareness, being able to run the ball, just setting certain things up. There's just a little bit more that I want to see. And he picked, Wiley to come here, and that looks terrible. So I'm still salty about that. Has Magic made a Twitter post yet? I haven't seen it. I hopped on here as soon as the game ended. Can we talk about the fumbling issue? No discipline from the coaches, says Hall 3. And it's great. And the guy that fumbles the most, Antonio Gibson, didn't play today. And we had way too many fumbles. The Logan Thomas one was a backbreaker. And then starting out the second half with the fumble on special teams, just giving the Giants breath of life, any kind of momentum. You can't do that in this league. I don't know any team that has ever won a game with 6 turnovers, ever. And it sucks because, once again, we had 9 sacks. It looked like the defense was ready to play. The defensive line had their ears pinned back like a bunch of dogs, just ready to get in the backfield. And then that's what we're doing on offense and special teams, turning the ball over. Ron at head coach, there's no reason for Ron. Ron's not coming back. We just lost to the Giants again. Might as well fire them now, make them suffer the same L on Thursday. I just don't see that happening, especially on a short week. But outside of that, Sam Howell only sacked 4 times, which is low for Sam Howell. 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Like I said, you'll get the good and you'll get the bad with Sam Howell's decision making. It's going to be a roller coaster, guys. He's a young quarterback. I'm still in on Sam. I think it's funny that people will love Sam Howell, and then the next week he has a bad game and they're just out. Nope. Get Jaden Daniels, get Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., get whoever. I'm done with Sam. I still believe in Sam. Let's see. What's the biggest need on this team? 43% said the left or right tackle. I agree. I loved watching some ball yesterday. Saw a lot of good tackle play, especially Talise Fuaga is my favorite out of Oregon State. Interior O-line got 31%. I agree. I think left guard's a big need. I think center's a big need. I think Stromberg can move to left guard. Wiley can move to left guard. Still don't know how I feel about that. But I think we still need a long-term center or a left guard piece. I don't think we have that on the team. I don't think Tyler Larson's the right answer. I think he's been an upgrade from Nick Gates because Nick Gates was bad. But I still think we need that long-term solution on the offensive line. I would love a Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State at left guard. I think Troy Futanu out of Washington can move over to left guard. I think he'd be a great Graham Barton out of Duke is another option. This offensive line class is probably the best I've seen in a very long time. It's not even just top heavy either. You're in the second and third round and you're holy smokes. Javion Cohen out of Miami, third round. I think he's a starter at the next level. Transfer from Alabama. There's a lot of good players in this draft on the offensive line. I could go on a rant about prospects for a long time, but I'm not. 16% said linebacker, 13% said weapons on the offense. I think that's something that we're seeing more every single week, and that's something I've kind of been, slowly feeding y'all because I don't know if y'all are ready for it yet. But this team needs some different weapons on tight end, especially. I'm a Brock Bowers fan. I would pound the table for Brock Bowers if he's there whenever we pick 10, 11, whatever it is. But I still think that we need another option at wide receiver. De'Ami Brown is not reliable enough. I think we lose Curtis Samuel in free agency. The new front office is going to want to spend money. They're going to want to get some new players in here. They're not going to want to keep a lot of the guys that we have. I hate to say it. Lewan is his top cap solution. No, Lewan looks really small right now. Surprisingly, I think he's done playing. I think he's satisfied not playing right now. M. Williams 25 says this team is just bad. The coaching just sucks. You're not wrong. Like that's literally all I could say right now, and it would be right. This team is bad. Our Terry 1 says blow it up and trade everyone. I think that it's too late to trade anybody, but I think there's a couple like key foundation pieces. But I'm telling you guys, like come next year, the new head coach, the new regime, front office, GM, VP, operations, whatever, they're gonna want to build their team, and that's what has me excited because we see the same thing week in and week out. Competitive sometimes will look good against good teams, then we just look awful against bad teams. We see the same product and we expect something different every Sunday, but we don't get it. So I think it's big that someone could come in, blow this thing up. It's not going to be like a complete reset. It's not, because we do have some really good pieces. I think Sam Howell is the future. Obviously, you've got Terry. Brian Robinson looks good. Jahan Dotson's hit or miss. The defensive line's built with John Allen and Deron Payne in the middle. Obviously, I think KJ Henry could be good. There's still some key pieces. Like there's still a lot that we need to figure out on this team. It's not just like a one here, one there thing. It's just like an overall, we need everyone to get better, which is not good. Are we looking at 4-13? Man, I hope not. I'm trying to think. We have a couple we have the Jets, unless Aaron Rodgers magically comes back. Like, watch, that'll be the first game that he decides to come back. It'll be against us. That's just how it works. But let's see. We are currently 4-7, and we have the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, L. Dolphins the Sunday after that on December 3rd, L. We go to the Rams. I don't think we win that one. The Jets, like I said, that's on Christmas Eve. He's talking about coming back like beginning in December as for practice. He's probably going to be, if Aaron Rodgers actually does come back, it'll probably be that week or the week before we play them. So he'll be able to get the rust off of his leg and play against us and then just tear us up. So I want to say Jets, but if Aaron Rodgers comes back, I'm not saying Jets. I don't care if he's on one leg. He can still beat us. And then we have the 49ers on New Year's Eve, and then we play the Cowboys to end the season. And maybe the Cowboys rest everyone going into the playoffs, and we just get them weak. Like, I know they didn't rest anyone last year, but still, like, they were ready for the playoffs, whatever. And we just knew the season was over, and we actually looked good. Sam Howell's first game, like, it was electric, whatever. But yeah, I honestly, the only winnable game I see is the Rams. But once again, can you imagine what Cooper Kupp and Puka, my guy Puka Nuka, is going to do against us? Heck no. He's going to carve up that secondary. Cooper Kupp and Puka against our secondary. I'm taking over in the yards, whatever it is that week. But it's not looking good. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, this was the game. This was it. Like, this was the last string we were holding on to. And I'm telling you guys, after this, like, the season's officially over. Playoff hopes, unless like some kind of craziness happens, everyone just goes down, which, I mean, people have been getting hurt, but there's no way. Like, I don't see us winning more than 2 more games this season, which honestly, like, fine. Like I said, the season's over, in my opinion. Get the best draft pick, start building up. That's what y'all are going to see out of me on Twitter, at Josh Taylor FB, and then also on my YouTube channel, JTFB. I'm going to start doing prospects, talking about draft picks, talk about head coaching hires we could have, GM, candidates, stuff like that, because we're going to lose on Thanksgiving, and then I fully expect Ron Rivera to be fired right after that. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Let's see if there's anything else I got on here. D-line performance. Overall, I think the D-line played much better. Once again, I think KJ Henry looks like he has a bright future. I know it's just been one game against a really bad offensive line, but from what I saw, his energy, his pass rushing moves, the technique, like that's who I was watching every defensive play. Like I was like, let me see what KJ Henry got. His ability to get in the backfield, stop the run, put his nose in there. It just looked the stunts that him and Deron Payne were doing looked way more fluid than what Deron Payne and Montez Sweat were doing. I don't know what they did. Like you go back and watch the Bears game, they did it like 2 or 3 times, and it was the most awkward stunt I've ever seen ever. And it turned out to be the 3 biggest plays that the Bears had. Like it was just wide open areas. So it looked much better with those 2 on there. I think they could play much better, together than they did. So appreciate y'all hanging out. Obviously, not how we want this one to go, but just expect a lot of big time changes coming up. I think Ron Rivera gets fired in about 2 weeks. And of course, I'll be going live to talk about that. Like I said, I'll be in Virginia for Thanksgiving. So hit me up if y'all are going to be doing anything. We might watch some games, might watch the game somewhere. Haven't really figured it out yet, but I appreciate y'all stopping by. Hit me up on Twitter. Appreciate everyone that reached out about my elbow surgery. Like I'm good. Just got a nasty scar, some stitches. I got 1 more surgery to go. But yeah, just add me to the list of injuries this season. It hasn't been good, but no Taylor Heineke shout out. He got benched. So Heineke back on the bench where he belongs. Hate to say it. My nips hurt. I don't know why I even picked that as a name, by the way. But no shout out for Heineke. He's back on the bench, which if you get benched by Desmond Ridder, that's terrible. So appreciate y'all hanging out, and I'll see y'all next time here on Bleacher Report. Peace. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to participate in all of your fantasy contests, whether it's the NFL, MLB, PGA Golf, NBA, even college football. This user-friendly app, you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. And my favorite part is that when you sign up in your first deposit and you use my promo code JTFB, they will double your first deposit up to $100. Now, how does it work? You pick lower or higher on stat projections that Underdog Fantasy gives you, whether it's passing yards, rebounds, points, you name it. And for each selection, say you want to select 3 people or 4 people, your odds go up based off of how many you select. My favorite feature, however, is sometimes I want to make 4 selections and I'm not feeling too confident in all of them. I love taking advantage of the pick'em insurance to where if I miss 1 pick in my contest, I still get paid out on lower odds. So sign up today, download the app, and use my promo code JTFB to get up to $100 in your first deposit.